Want to start?
Go ahead.
Well, I will talk just a few minutes and about tar kiln and tar in particular. And if you want me to, I'll talk a little bit about turpentine when we get up to that section. But first of all, it's amazing to be here and see Longleaf pine and also see old stumps. As you go past in the woods there, you'll see these old pine stumps. Many of them have been worked for turpentine. But right here we're talking about tar. And to understand what tar is all about, aside from the fact that North Carolina has been known as the Tar Heel state, you might wonder, why is that? Why was North Carolina called the Tar Heel state? And what is a tar heel for that matter? Well, to understand all of that, you have to start with the era of wooden ships. Wooden ships had to be waterproof before they went to sea. And while they were at sea, many times ships were at sea for sometimes as much as a year, 2 years. The whalers that set forth from New England would be gone for sometimes 3 years. If they were to spring a leak somewhere, tar was necessary. For a shipbuilder to make a boat, he had to have a store of tar which could be rendered into pitch. Pitch was used to caulk the seams between the planks of the boats. Tar was used to coat the ropes of the boats. Every wooden ship had miles of different kinds of ropes. Very, very thin ones, little bigger ones, and then huge hawsers that would hold the anchor. So all of these ropes had to be coated with tar, and this was done before the ship ever went to sea. But when it was at sea, sailors had to climb up into the rigging about 2 or 3 times in a year, grab their tar bucket, and swap all of the ropes with tar. That would help preserve the ropes against the salt air, which is very corrosive. So tar was essential then. The production of tar was essential for all the wooden boats in the world. Every fleet, you had a fleet of maritime boats or military vessels, you had to have a supply of tar. It's kind of like gasoline today, or oil. You have to have oil if you're going to be an industrial state. Well, just like in that, you had to have a supply of tar and pitch and the trees that produced tar and pitch if you were to have a maritime empire back in the 1600s or even 2000 BC, for that matter. The Greeks had to have these kind of supplies. Well, where did they go? Well, in the case of the British Navy, they came here to North Carolina, Virginia. They started out in New England. They found pitch pine up there. They thought that was pretty good. It produced the kind of wood that could produce tar, and I'll tell you how it was produced in a minute. But when they came and started settling North Carolina, they found this enormous longleaf pine forest, an enormous forest of pines that stretched from the southeastern part of Virginia down the coastal plain all the way to Lake Okeechobee in Florida, and then across the coastal plain of the Gulf states all the way to eastern Texas. Almost 100 million acres of longleaf pine, of which we have just maybe 1 or 2 million acres, 2 or 3 million acres today. And that's mostly in little pieces here and there. You've got, or right here on this land, there are a few pieces of longleaf pine. 100 years ago, 150 years ago, this would have been all longleaf pine. These oak trees that you see, the hardwoods, would not have been growing. They would have been shrubs, little shrubs. Fires would have come swept through here every 2, 3, 4 years and burned and kept most of the hardwood trees that you see here today, would have kept them in shrub form. So you would have seen an open forest of widely spaced longleaf pines, and that's what most of the coastal plain of North Carolina looked like, South Carolina, Georgia, all the way over to Texas.